It's scary. Death is in the air. It's everywhere. They're all dropping like flies, especially in France, a place where people are discouraged from having air conditioning. 48 people died because of climate change. They were hounded and chased by it all the way to the sea, just like Moses and the Israelites, and in they went. But, in this case, the sea didn't part, and they drowned trying to escape. It had nothing to do with the water, RTE said. It was man-made climate change caused by our use of fossil fuels that was responsible. Such is their claim. My claim is that one cannot measure or differentiate between what's natural and what's not. It's not a measurable claim. But of course, that won't stop them making such claims, because their salaries depend upon it. And so, those people in France were drowned by fossil fuels, you see. It had nothing to do with the fact that they were poor swimmers or were possibly already unhealthy. 2 children also died in a car as a result of the heat. It had nothing to do with the irresponsibility of the parents or lack of supervision. The climate was responsible, although we all know that summer comes around every year at the same time. Climate now has to be shoehorned into everything in our news cycle, designed to perpetually keep people in fear, reinforcing the absurdity that we are responsible for the weather. If we can be persuaded to feel guilty about that, we'll gladly surrender any of our liberties so that those holding the levers of power can solve this perceived problem for us. Of course, the solution always involves more taxation and gradual loss of freedom to keep those whose salaries depend on this story well-oiled. RTE, on their phone app, had a map of Europe in an article yesterday. The continent was coloured blood red, an interesting psychological device and a form of visual propaganda. Once you understand this, it has little effect on you. It is journalistic theatre, nothing more. They will of course never mention the cold and continual wet weather we had for the previous 8 months, or even temperatures before records began around the mid-1850s. That would be inconvenient and lacks the drama needed to perpetuate this story, this fairy tale. It's why the phrase, "since records began," is always included, in order to cover themselves and at the same time to deceive. Fairy tales are interesting creatures, for they enthrall the listener, usually a child, and the fantastical soon becomes reality in that child's mind. The absurdity of how the earth is so delicate that it cannot even be scratched, and that a harmless natural gas, which is a tiny proportion of the atmosphere, with human contribution being even more minute, can turn the climate on its head. These claims are extraordinary, and we have now become a society of simpletons who will believe anything we are told. We are suckers for a great story, especially when we believe that government can only have good intentions. Many of those who lived under 20th century communist rule thought that also, and it cost at least 100 million of them their lives. Such was the psychological power that government had over the population. Even children denounced their parents, and many saw them executed for their supposed undermining of the ideology. A story, then, is a powerful weapon, but stories don't always reflect reality. Those who create such stories often have their own agenda, such as a parent who wants to get their child to sleep, or a governing class who want their citizens to comply, to go along with what they have in mind. 48 people died trying to escape climate change, the story goes. That sounds scary, but the truth is that they died from poor swimming skills, poor parental supervision, and ignorance about summer heat and how to mitigate it. Anything beyond that is just a well-packaged tale to neutralize your complicit mind.